Uh, yeah, good evening, guys. Mr. Abiodun and Mr. Easy. I don't know whether I'm correct. Are you guys there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, all right, sir. Um, Course of time, and so that we can be able to do much today, and that's tonight. I think we should start, right? Since they will still be having access to the video, probably we should just start then. Anybody that want to join, yes, that's good. Thank you. So, without wasting much of our time, like we have promised, let me share my screen. Let me share the screen. It's coming up. Okay, cool. So my screen is up and running. That's cool. Um, like I've said, tonight we are going to start with introduction to Python, most especially for cybersecurity. But the thing is this: Python is very broad, wide, vast, big, and it's not something that we can, if I won't want to deceive us, it's not something we can even reach the half of it in this course. But I'll just try to introduce the basic Python's ideas, what we need to know before we can start either manipulating Python or other things. So I'll I'll go through some of these things I've prepared in my slide, and I'll try as much as possible to please help us to mute your mic. The very first thing you do immediately you join the meeting is just to help us try to mute your mic, please. Anytime you join the meeting, just try to, the first thing is, try to mute your mic. The first thing, even if it is something you can do before you join, it will first of all show you some options that, okay, do you want to join? So you see beside it that you can off your camera, you can mute your microphone, then you can now join, so that it won't cause disruption in the class. Thank you so much. So in this slide we have prepared some things that we need to know. I don't know whether we are familiar with Python already, but even if you are not familiar with Python, we are going to see some small things that we can use Python to do tonight. But Python is very huge, as in big for a purpose. So one of the first important thing we are going to talk about is Python. That's about Python. Python can be used to automate a wide range of tasks in cybersecurity, like what we did yesterday in the Bash scripting language. Python supersede, I will say this since this is going to social media, and except you want to discriminate, Python is one of the most powerful language in this world today, that from experience, from research, to me, Python supersedes every other programming languages in this world. That's to me. Although there are some programming languages that compete with Python, but when we talk about, or we see the functionalities, the what Python can do, Python is everywhere. Python has no limitations to me. It's everywhere. There's nothing you want to talk about in as of today in the life of IT, Python is always around to assist compared to other programming languages that they have limitations. So that's one of the very important or interesting thing about Python. So we use Python for scanning, for malware, and also to analyze network traffic. We have a lot of script. I'll show us some script. I've prepared it already, so I'll just show us. It's not something I can explain here. I'll just show us how we can use Python to scan, especially to scan malware. I have the one to scan malware. I have the one to analyze network traffic, and also to perform vulnerability assessment. Python can do all those things. And most of these tools that we have shown ourselves, if we can recall, we discovered that it was mentioned that Python is used to build some of these tools, if not all of those tools, but most of them. So Python can also be used to develop custom security tools for a specific task. That's one thing about Python. Then why do we have to go for Python? Why Python? Why Python? So actually, please help us to mute your microphone. Help us to mute your microphone. It is very, very important as you join, or even before you join. Mute your microphone before you click on join. Please. Please. Now, it doesn't come as a surprise that Python is one of the most sought after programming languages for cybersecurity. Now, we have to consider this type of the points I listed here. In consideration is because of its extensive library of powerful packages that support that's rapid application development. If you're a developer, you truly understand this. So I don't want to delve into it deeply. I can just do some more research on what is meaning of rapid application development. Also, a very clean syntax code and modular design. By the time you start writing Python code, you discover that Python is in fact very, very simple and it's very, very clean. You can write Python program, Python language, and anybody can just come and start reading it like a novel. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Compared to other languages that you need to get familiar with them before you can either interpret or decode them. Comes to Python, write Python codes, anybody can come, read it and understand. The person might not be able to compose his own, but it's something that anybody can just come, pick it up, start reading it, then understand it. Also, automatic memory management and dynamic typing capability, exactly. That's one of the beautiful things about Python. Also, mixed code environment to combine different programming languages. We have MicroPython, we have Cython, we have Jython, we have Squapt, and we have PyPy. All of those things. By the time you take Python as a course on its own, you truly or surely understand all of this. Before you can write a Python code, you need to set up the environment. So if you want to write Python, the first thing you need to install on your machine is Python itself. Python as the application, then you can now use any of these IDE or editors of your choice. Any one of these editors listed here, you can use any one of them to write your code. But in my own case here, I like Anaconda. Inside that Anaconda, we have Jupyter. Either you call it Jupyter, some call it Jupyter, some call it Jupyter. I don't know, but I always call it Jupyter. So I will be using Jupyter throughout this tonight training. So we have the IDLE, we have the PyCharm, we have Jupyter Notebook, which I'll be using. We have Spider, we have Tony, we have PyDev, Eclipse, we have Sublime, we have Atom, we have Notepad. We have a lot of them that are not even mentioned here. So these are the environments where we can write Python code. Without this, life will not be easier for us. So I'll be showing us a lot of things later. Let me just quickly finish up this slide. And again, we have some basic um, Python programming that we must understand or we must get familiar with. So in this section, I'll just quickly introduce to us, not everything, I'll just glance through blah 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 of this particular um, important things I've highlighted here. The first one is the variable names. We are going to look at variable names. We are going to look at functions. We are going to look at numbers and operators, loops and statements, string functions, file functions, data structures, and regular expressions. Like I've said this from the beginning of this today's class, Python is very, very wide, vast, huge. It's not something we can, don't expect us to do much, especially tonight in this Python of a thing. So I'll just try as much as possible to give us some key points of what we need to know. Then from there, we can start manipulating things. Like I've met some people that they have challenged me. Of recent, a parent challenged me. Our son, I think let me quickly say this, it's just to enlighten us. Someone told the parent that, oh, let your child to learn Python because Python is hot cake now. Okay, your son can use Python to do so things. So those end product that was mentioned was captured by the woman. So the next thing just to call me, okay, I want my son to learn this, learn this, learn this. Okay, no problem. Actually, she didn't contact me directly. The organization she contacted, they called me. So I started taking this charge, the course. It's not up to 3 weeks. The woman came to the organization and complained that what I'm teaching is not what she's expecting. Oh, so when the organization called me, I tried to convince them that before I would say anything, let the woman, that's the mother of the child, be around physically so that I can say my things. So I made them to realize, both the organizations and the parent, to understand that Python is a course, is a profession on its own. So you don't expect a child, someone just called you. I just told the mom that someone called you that let your son or your child to study medicine. The person is not trying to tell you that your son should jump into university level and start learning medicine. Your son or your child should start from basic knowledge, primary school, secondary school, tertiary school, then before the professional course. That's exactly what is happening in Python. So if someone have told you that, okay, let your child go and study particular course, before you can start studying medicine, you need to pass through that level of primary school, secondary school, before you choose your department. After that, you have a lot of series of examination you go through before you enter into any institutions, before you can now spend so many years again. So the same thing is happening here tonight. So if you are talking about Python, you want to use Python for cybersecurity, guys, it's just like exactly what I just finished explaining. So don't just believe that you can just jump into Python and say you want to start using Python to write script, then you want to start using to hack. Guys, I won't want to deceive you, but to be sincere with us, we need to pass through that level of primary school level. And you know what we always pass through in primary school level? They will teach us 2-letter words, 3-letter words, combination of those words to form sentences. From there, we'll get to secondary school level where we'll be asked to start reading fluently. And from there, after that, they will ask us to be writing letter on our own. Write a letter to your dad, write a letter to your mom, write a letter to your uncle in another country, all those blah blah blah. And before that, if you can pass through those stages and successfully, you are good. The next thing is, now, what do you want to become in future? You cannot decide. The same thing happens there. So what I'm teaching you now is those primary school level studies. 2-letter words, 3-letter words, how you can combine those things. And failure to learn those things, you can't, it's just like you know the answer already. There's no way you get to secondary school level. So there's no way. Except you have to, even if you are at that secondary school level, they will still refer back to that primary school level. That means you need extra teachers to come and teach you. So the better thing there is just make sure you start from the scratch. That is exactly what me I'm going to do tonight with you guys. So all of these things is what we are going to go through. Then we'll do some practice tonight. And again, please, I'm not seeing the screen. If the time I've started giving signal, someone should just quickly speak up so that I can quickly maybe send another link, or wherever we stop, we just stop there tonight. Now, when we're talking about variable names in Python, there are a lot of rules that we must follow if we want to declare variable names. So I will first of all tell us what is a variable name. Actually, it's not there, it's not here on the slide, but a variable is just like a container that we can use to store things. In mathematics, we normally use x equals to y, x equals to 2, x equals to 3, x equals to 4, x equals to 5. Those letters a, b, c to z, they are variables names. Then we use them to store something. If we say x equals to 2, that means we have stored 2 into x. That is a variable. That's how to declare variable. Then if we don't want to use just a single letter, we want to use long combination of letters, we have rules guiding them. The first rule is names cannot start with a number. You don't say 2a, you don't say 2b, you don't say 3a, you don't say 3b. Just any name you want to give, never start any variable name with number. In Python, and I believe the same thing is applicable to other programming language. Take note of this. And these are the things if you want to, if you are a developer, you should be able to read code, debug code, that's correct some errors in code. If you are coming to my organization, I want to employ you. If you call yourself a Pythonista, what I will just do is I will write a beautiful code and I will tamper with it, I will change some things there, I will give it to you to debug, to correct it. So these are the things they can use to test us. They put numbers before a variable name, and if you run the code, it will run. They will ask you to correct it. So take note of this. Anywhere you see something like that, quickly know that no, it's not supposed to be like that. Also, there can be no space in the name. Use underscore instead to separate or to concatenate variable names. If you are using my age, for instance, instead of saying my separate, age separate, write them together. Either you combine them together or you use something like this underscore to separate them. You can use my age together. You can use uppercase, you can use lowercase, anyhow you want it. Just make sure there is no space in between them. So also, variable can't use any of these symbols. You can't use any of these listed symbol among or in between your variables. Take note, you can't use any of these symbols. You can say my, at, age, my, any of these symbols, you can't use it. Take note. It is considered best practice that names are lowercase. To be on the safer side, I always tell my people, let your variable names be lowercase. Like what we did in the bash script yesterday. I still mentioned that I prefer, not even I prefer, is the best practice so far. Always use lowercase to declare your variable. There are some cases where you need to combine words. You can use uppercase just for one letter in between. If you go for the Python class, you get to know more of this. So the same thing like what we have on the screen. I don't want to waste much time on it. That's about variable. We have functions. In Python, we have a function. Function is another word entirely. I won't want to waste much time on this. In fact, it's simple. Let me put it that way. It's simple and ironically, but it's very, very simple. Very, very simple. That's if you get to know it. We have functions. This is more about function. We use def, that's define, that is a keyword. We use def, then followed by the function name you prefer to use. We have recursion. This is a recursive. You call something recursive, that's to return a particular statement, maybe consecutively for a particular, it depends on the instruction you give to it. We have lambda. Lambda is also a function. It's used a lot in applications, a lot. In fact, lambda is everywhere in Python. If you want to do something crazy, something beautiful, something big, you can't just do without lambda. You can't do without lambda. We have numbers and operators. We are familiar with this from primary school, secondary school, even till now. We do addition and subtraction, multiplication, division. We have all of this. It's under numbers. Then operators. Numbers is either positive or negative. Operators is those things I just mentioned. That's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We have others, like those things that even it was when I started Python I realized that it's not just only minus, negative, plus for positive, multiplication and division we have as operators. We have more than 10. We have more than 15 operators. So as time goes on, maybe when you get to the Python class, you can do that more. So we have loops and statements. This loop is very interesting. Very interesting. I'm just showing us. I'm not going to show us. I have my own mission tonight where I'm going to focus on, but I just need to introduce all of these things to us. We have while loop. We have if else statement. That is, the first one is this statement is called if else statement. So this if else is a statement on its own. We call it if else statement, but what we have in between is another thing in between this if and else. So if you give a code, you are expecting either else of it, but if you want to give some other conditions, then we use this elif means else if. What if does not work? Then else if this work, else if this work, else if this work, else at all. Either of them did not work. So we'll get to know more about it when you get to that level. String function. String, when we're talking about string, don't stress yourself. We're talking about letters. So when we're talking about string, we're talking about letters. So that's what I'll see here tonight. Then data structure in Python, data structure in any programming language, that's why it says in any programming language are used to store and retrieve information. That one is enough. So even you know what is data, you know what is structures, then you can use those two words to give a contextual meaning. That's data structure, the information and how to structure it. That's what I'll just say here. We have a lot of things under it, but the little I'll just say tonight is that. So all of these things listed there, just try to I'll say it's a thing you can do on your own, but although we still have discussion tonight, so we'll see what I can do about that. And if you have questions, please jot them down, so when we get to question and answer session, you can quickly ask your questions. We have list. This list, thank God, is stated here. We use this thing, that is square brackets. We have three types of brackets that are important in Python. We have the curly braces, the one that is normally used in set, the one that is colored. I said colored, curved like this. There is the same thing on the keyboard with this, so it is called curly braces. Why this one is called square braces? So the square braces is used for list, while the other one is used for set. So we have other one which is on the 9 and 0 on our keyboard. That one is just normal parentheses. We call it parentheses, but in our normal mathematics, in our normal activities, we call it bracket. But in programming, in coding, you as a developer, don't call it bracket. They'll just be looking at you like this a novice or a newbie. So we call it parentheses. Then this one we call it square bracket. While the other one we call it curly braces. I don't know the name they normally call it in. I think everything is just bracket. But these are the things that will differentiate you from learning, or you as a developer from others that are not developer. All this, how to use all these terminologies. So take care or take note of them. We have arrays. This array is just arrangement. Means arrangement of the numbers. Let me use that word number. Arrangement of numbers in Python. We have dictionaries. Yes, dictionary, this one is very, very important. Dictionaries are made of key and value pairs, where the key is used to identify the item and the value holds the value of the item. It's very simple. In fact, What I normally do to myself to make life easier is whenever I'm reading things, I like to to relate it to whatever I have in my environment. Like this now, I'm familiar with dictionary from the English classes I've attended. So what I did, or what I normally do to my students, is how do you search for a dictionary? You'll be given a word, and that particular word will have a particular meaning. Yes. Now, it's the same thing here. A dictionary it has a key. That key also have a value. For instance, what is computer? All you just need to do is to go to COM, look for computer. And another thing you will see in dictionary is that computer will not be repeated twice. Rather, it will have just one computer and have like 4, 5, 6, 7 millions of meaning. So that is exactly what is happening. They will say one meaning, two another meaning, three another meaning, but they will repeat the computer, computer, computer. Computer will only come once, then have either one or more meaning. The same thing happens to dictionary in Python, and you know or you see how we can use them by the time we get to Python class. So we have tuples. These tuples also, you can see the kind of I think they didn't use the dictionary here. Okay, dictionary they normally use curly braces. So here we use the parentheses. This parentheses, yes, look at what is written here. We don't use this parentheses for list, rather we use this square bracket for list. So this tuple, whenever you see this and you have something in it, it is under tuples and it means a lot. So where you are supposed to use this, you don't use this. Where you are supposed to use this, the curly braces, you now use either of these is wrong. Is wrong. So when to use this is different, when to use this is different, and when to use the curly braces also is totally different. And they all serve different purposes, never the same thing, and they all mean a lot. The regular expression, this regular expression also is in fact it is used in a very big problem solving. Problem solving is towards the end. By the time you start learning Python, when you get to a particular class, a particular subject, the first thing you'll be introduced to will be very simple. As time goes on, as time goes on, as time goes on, by the time you are getting towards the end, that is where you see the big part of the course. So the same thing happens to regular expressions. So that is that about what we are going to discuss. Now we have practice problem. So what we are going to do now, this is one of my tasks. I will take this first one. Although I'll still share this slide with you guys. I'll take this first one. You have to simulate the basic calculator function in a simple Python. Okay, fine. Let me take 1 and 2. We should write a program. We should write a code with Python and obtain user, that is, we should allow user to input something, then to perform the arithmetic operations. Okay, we are going to do these two. This 3 is very simple. It's just one command we are going to use, but you can do the research on your own. But before we start these two, I want to show us one